With Stan, they took the original cozy pop song ballad and twisted it into the darkest groupie love song of all time. In this Doechii track, she basically took an instrumental that already sounded a little kooky and just played into the pre-existing vibe of it. What up, y'all? Rap Critic here, and okay, let's cut to the chase. I know what you're thinking. Bruh, this anxiety song came out forever ago. Why are you so late? Well, first of all, it was originally made back in 2019 and wasn't released as a single until this past year. So if I'm late, so is the rest of the mainstream audience, so meh. And secondly, this was a priority requested song review by the man with the killer plan. Now, this priority request in particular was part of a campaign I wrapped up where people helped me pay for a new animation project where I'm collabing with Toonrific Tariq on a cartoon show pitch. But hey, if you want to get in on future deals I'll have going on for requests and live streams and stuff like that, head on over to ko-fi.com/rapcritic and get yours in now. So let's talk about Doechii, an artist I've been extremely excited about for everything they've done, except for this track, which is, of course, her biggest selling single so far. And look, I know we're all sick of it by this point with such a simplistic earwormy hook and the way it's been overplayed on what's left of terrestrial radio, plus flooding the music charts as well as every fourth TikTok video you scrolled, but honestly, I'm not saying this to be a hater. I genuinely felt from the first moment I heard this song that it was supremely underwhelming, especially in relation to what she's capable of as an artist. But here's the thing, you can't even get angry at a stuffy old out-of-touch record label pushing the song with the clearly recognizable sample as a safe bet while their people were clamoring for something better. No, this is a track that her fans wanted her to drop. That's right, she had originally put the song together as a fun session joint, but her supporters were so adamant about her putting it out as an official single, hounding her for years to do it, that she finally caved in. And well, I guess you can't say they didn't have good instincts, but on the other hand, it's like, no duh, it took off as a single, like, gee, maybe it's because it kinda sounded like a track that they used to know. And yes, I am taking this cheap joke that someone has definitely already said before because that's the level of creativity we're getting with this track. Cause look, people, I get it. Hip hop reuses shit. And as a matter of fact, as a rapper who sometimes makes beats myself, I totally get hearing an older song and going, ooh, let me flip this part of the song, or ooh, let me rap over this beat while the instrumental bit happens, to change the energy of what's happening and play with the form of the song. But that's just it. The Doechii track doesn't really play with the sample like that. It's not like she put a hard drum beat under it or has some DJ mixing and scratching the instrumentals. No, it's just the original instrumental of the song playing all the way through with new vocals that don't interact or even really build off of the elements of the original song. See, I'm fine with sampling. What I hate is uninspired sampling, where you're just sitting there listening like, well, why did they sample this? It could have been any quirky pop song from over 10 years ago with a catchy melody that we've all got collective nostalgia over, and functionally it wouldn't have been any different. Like, I love her singing voice and the fact that she gets to swing it around a little bit on the track, but as far as the actual construction of the song goes, the only thing new that you really get are the low humming bits and the breathing parts, but she doesn't alter any fundamental parts of the music. Like, she doesn't flip any of the original lyrics in a funny way or do something with the minor key Ba Ba Black Sheep xylophone melody, so it's like, then what's the point of sampling this song specifically? It feels no different to me than when Lotto's track Big Dick Energy sampled Mariah Carey's sample of Genius of Love. Like, you maybe get a couple cool points for it not being as overplayed as a sample, but not that many, because people absolutely were still playing this joint 10 years on. Hell, I think most pop music fans are still sore that he bowed out of the popular music scene before he could really take off. Shoot, I imagine a lot of people when they heard the song at first were like, oh yeah, that song was good, wasn't it? Man, what happened to that guy? And of course, when you look into it, it's all him being a humble indie musician who was all like, oh, I don't want to influence the landscape of pop music, sounds like too much pressure. Meanwhile, we couldn't get rid of fucking Chris Brown's ass. Like, god damn it, man, it's always the ones who don't suck that never want to stick around. So I will say, I'm not mad at all for Doechii getting some more royalty checks out of the whole deal, because seriously, if you don't know about his music, you definitely gotta stop sleeping. That white boy had some fucking bops.
It's a genuine home entertainment revelation. State of the art.
What? Man, somebody needs to sample this shit. And hey, I get it. People like this beat. She was much earlier in her career making YouTube videos and just having fun with it. But for God's sakes, when you do the official release, can we add a little fucking flair to this shit? Like, there were so many people I saw on the internet thinking Doechii's official version of the song was actually an unofficial mashup of Gautier's track with her vocals that somebody else made, and that the original beat for her song must be something else. But that's exactly how people are going to feel about a track if you literally don't do anything with the beat that makes it feel different from the original version. It's the kind of thing where you can't even complain when people would rather hear the original song, because it's like, yeah, you didn't enhance the musical ideas of the original as much as you just kind of wrote a different song over it that could have been over any other top 40 hit songs instrumentals. Well, I guess that intro instrumental bit is pretty unique to the Doechii song. Plus, to her defense, it's not like there isn't some sense of recontextualization taking place here, right? The original creepy instrumental is soundtracking the emotion of a relationship falling apart, while this version is about the creepy feeling of her mental state falling apart. That's something, isn't it? Difference being, when I hear something like Dido's Thank You and then Eminem's Stan, sure, he's cribbing the hook, and in fact, the song came out like less than a year after the original did, but at the same time, those songs don't even slightly function the same. In Thank You, it starts with the beat you know, but then the hook comes in and completely switches up the music. While in Stan's version, that beat stays the same the whole time, but then there's the harder backbeat drums, mixed with the world of the story he creates that makes it a completely unique listening experience from the original. But this track doesn't have anywhere near that level of sampling ambition. With Stan, they took the original cozy pop song ballad and twisted it into the darkest groupie love song of all time. In this Doechii track, she basically took an instrumental that already sounded a little kooky and just played into the pre-existing vibe of it. Like, for example, if she took Toxic by Britney Spears, hey, yeah, we know it's a fun, unserious pop song, right? But if she took that sliding feeling of the violins during that one breakdown part and twisted into something anxiety-inducing, see, that would be a subversion of the mood of that track. But with the instrumentals of the original Somebody That I Used to Know, it's not like anyone originally heard this song and didn't think it sounded kind of odd, so there's no real subversion happening. And you can't help but feel like the power of the unaltered instrumental is doing most of the heavy lifting here. But in another case where it'd be like, oh, they're using a sample, but then they play with it in a fun way where you're like, oh, okay, it's cool, it's justified by they use the sample. With this, it just feels like, oh, this other song started, and then, never mind, it's actually this one. Well, you already started listening. You know what I mean? Especially in the sense that what she's ultimately adding here is just some heavy breathing, endless repetition of the word anxiety, and two verses that virtually get lost in the ocean of repetition that is the main hook. Seriously, I bet a good some of y'all don't even remember that there's more to this song than just the chorus about anxiety.
Solo, no mojo, I bounce back, no pogo.
But she starts things off with a simple but fun flow.
Unhappy, no homo.
Okay, I mean, as someone who said she's bisexual, that definitely feels kind of odd to hear her say. But alright, you get the joke. It's some cheeky wordplay about how she's not happy right now, right? And then you're assuming she's gonna continue to set the scene with her lyrics pulling us into the mentality of her paranoia, yeah? But then later on, she says this.
Hey, next thing, my life is a wet dream. I call it a sex scene. The back is a nice tease.
So, okay, well, saying your life is as fun as a wet dream kind of undercuts the whole anxiety thing you were just talking about.
Money on my juggler, natural hustler. Think I need a smuggler up in Russia.
Do you though? Do you need a Russian smuggler? Well, maybe it's paranoia playing into some international cyber terrorist intrigue and not just her using connects to try to export some top shelf vodka.
You could be my butler, shine my cutler.
Ah, okay, so you're so rich you can hire someone to be your butler and shine your silverware. Is this what anxiety feels like for you? Yeah, it sounds real stressful.
Shout out to Oyenda, that's the guzzler.
What the hell? What or who is Oyenda? Wait, let me look it up. I'm sure someone's mentioned it by now. It's probably a friend of hers whose parents gave her some African name or something like that, and knowing damn well they from Cleveland. Wait, I'm searching and I can't find one person bringing this up? What the fuck, internet? This song's been out for over half a year all over the digital landscape and nobody's thought to really look into this until now? See, this is why y'all need motherfuckers like me, because the average motherfuckers out there just don't be hearing shit.
Hey, next thing, my life is a wet dream. I call it a sex scene. The back is a nice tease.
Yeah, and then we get to this bit. I mean, I don't know what the back as a nice tease is supposed to mean, but if any person could describe their life as feeling like a wet dream, I can't imagine they're dealing with too much diversity.
I tried to escape. My life is an X-ray. I'm sorry, a sex tape. You only get one take.
And I'm sorry, but I gotta point out some of these cheap rhyme schemes here. My life is an X-rated, and nobody fucking says that. They say my life is X-rated. And then the, oops, I'm sorry, I meant a sex tape. Like, oh, later for this cheap, messed up the rhyme on purpose crap just so you can shove in another rhyme that wasn't even that good. Like, seriously, you could have made it so much cleaner by framing it like this, for example. I tried to escape. My life is a sex tape. I'm feeling so X-rated. Baby, just get naked. Like, see, you hear how I staggered the X-rated rhyme in a way that made it flow, then answered that new rhyme pattern with the following rhyme while still allowing all of that to flow naturally? I'm just saying, like, as a music student, I'm aware of how you can make rhymes and sentence structure fit in a way that makes it palatable to the ear. And hey, if you want to take a rap coaching lesson, that's kofi.com/rapcritic. Get with it, act like you want it. Again, though, I don't know why you're trying to escape this life if you're describing it as hot and X-rated, but all right, maybe she means her life is like raw and real, but I don't know, it's just so sloppily written and waste time with that fake out rhyme in there. It all just hits awkward.
Corridor from Florida. What's in that clear blue water?
Okay, now we're talking about some shit, I think. Because, dealing with with court orders from her home state, which is known for crazy outlandish shit going on, so maybe there's some wider cultural stuff you're hinting at. And while she does lay out a couple more themes for the rest of the barely 4 bars that are left, they all just feel too disjointed and random to feel like it's painting a full picture you can hang on to.
No limits, no borders. What's in that new world order?
Oh, so we're talking big lofty conspiracy theories now. I mean, okay. That can get kind of dicey in this day and age, so I hope at least...
Marco, Polo. Negro run from Popo. That blue light in that Rojo.
Okay, I think I gather what she's getting at. Like Marco Polo, the game where you're trying to get away from someone in a pool, like the black man's on the run from the law, right? But the imagery here is just so scattershot, you don't really get a chance to dig into what she's saying before she pauses the momentum completely at the end of each verse for these weird micro skits.
Quiet on the set, please. Rolling anxiety in 3, 2,
Like, okay, I get it. You like making movies, but you barely rapped 8 bars and you're really gonna fill it the rest of the time with this? Now, I do like the other bit at the end of the second verse.
and it's like I get this tightness in my chest, like an elephant is standing on me, and I just let it take over.
But the issue is, that 10 seconds of interlude did way more to expound on her dealing with anxiety than anything she says in the verses or the hook. Like, the first verse doesn't say anything about having anxiety. It's more about wet dreams and being able to afford a butler and getting vodka smuggled in from Russia. And the second verse, while it vaguely gestures at some wider social commentary shit, that's not what the song was set up to be about. I thought it was gonna be about her personally dealing with anxiety. Like, sure, news stories can stress us all out, but I thought this was gonna be about her personal journey dealing with anxiety. Like the pressure to perform as a rapper, expectations from her family, maybe even fear over not selling that many records. Just something that pierces the rapper persona and gives the listener something to hang on to. But as it is, she barely scratches the surface of pulling us into her journey other than a hook that just states that she's dealing with it. For contrast, take a listen to Noid by Tyler, the Creator from last year.
Someone's keeping watch. Feel them on my shoulder. Home invaders got my brothers dying. Think my neighbors want me dead. I got a cannon underneath the bed. Triple checking if I lock the door. Eyes glued to the rear view. Rather double back than regret hearing pew pew.
Like, that sounds like paranoia. The detail, the musical buildup, the way the experience entrenches you in his stressed out mindset, that paints the picture of fear and anxiety. But a song that just says the word anxiety a bunch of times, that doesn't in and of itself give me anxiety. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of suggestive people out there that, you know, it can start to mess with them. But for me, no, you gotta actually give me a journey. Hell, I'd argue that playing a joint where the first thing you hear is the safe, familiar chord progressions of a song you already recognize would make you feel the exact opposite of anxiety. In fact, maybe that's my problem here. The song doesn't actually feel like the experience of being anxious. It feels like the aesthetic of being anxious, you know? Like, Tyler's song is like the Robert Eggers remake of Nosferatu, and Doechii's song is like watching a Tim Burton movie after the year 2000. Like, there's definitely horror movie elements in here, but no one's actually getting scared, you know? Well, overall, I'd give this a 3.5 out of 5. Like, yeah, the hook is fun enough, but when you compare it to something like Tyler, the Creator's Noid, it just doesn't hit as hard. Tyler makes you feel drenched in the claustrophobic discomfort, fans watching his every move, same cars driving by outside, cops hunting him, feeling trapped. With Doechii, it's just anxiety. I definitely got it. And it's like, okay, cool, but can you give us some details? Because that first verse definitely wasn't saying shit. So yeah, the song is fine, I don't hate it, and I get why fans beg for it to drop, but ultimately it feels like Doechii put in a cheat code here. Like, you straight jacked a beat people already loved and repeated a rock-simple hook into oblivion. It's not exactly a trade secret for getting a guaranteed hit. As a positive contrast, though, I will say her Denial Is a River song about dealing with the pressures of fame did a way better job of detailing her anxiety and the trials and tribulations of her life, whereas this song to me is kind of like the Fisher-Price My First Emotional Breakdown version. But for the fans to have pushed for this so much, it's given Snyder Cut energy, you know? Like, no, maybe not the worst thing pressure from a fandom has given us, but you can't tell me this is the best they had to offer. And goddammit, it would be the loud internet fans who clamor and push for a track to get picked as a single, only for it to be the most underbaked example of the rapper's potential. It's like the musical version of Snakes on a Plane all over again. So now I, of course, have to pull out the well-worn sentiment of, no, but you see, their non-popular stuff is actually the cool stuff, you guys. Like, for fuck's sakes, if you mainstream Surfers fans weren't a bunch of basic-ass bitches, I wouldn't have to keep doing this. Well, as another bonus positive, I do think all our videos are really cool, including this one. And I especially dig the looping narrative of the fourth wall breaking way it starts and ends. Like, that's gotta be a Mel Brooks reference, right? Like, alright, referencing the movie High Anxiety in a video for a song called Anxiety, you gotta give her some cool points for that. Well, that's the episode. Leave a like if you like because it helps, comment if you have something to say because it helps even more, and hit the subscribe button because that's what helps the most. And if you want to make live stream music listen requests, of course, that's ko-fi.com/rapcritic and patreon.com/rapcritic to get all my content early and access to the Patreon Discord. So check all that fun stuff out and I'll catch you next time. Peace.